All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the origins and history of a character widely considered Marvel's most complex and, let's be real, arguably greatest villain. We're talking, of course, about Doctor Doom. He's this fascinating figure who just completely broke the mold of your standard run-of-the-mill mad scientist. Throughout this explainer, we're going to trace his incredibly layered journey from a persecuted orphan all the way to a literal god, looking at the dark history that forged his iron will.
10,000 futures have I looked at, and in only one does mankind finally unite and flourish and survive. Only one. Doom World. So the crucial point is understanding that megalomaniacal motivation right there. He genuinely believes he's the ultimate savior of humanity. He doesn't want to destroy the world just for the sake of being evil. He wants to conquer it because he is absolutely convinced without a shadow of a doubt that his absolute rule is the literal only way mankind can survive. But to understand that kind of monumental arrogance, well, we have to look at where he came from.
Moving to Section 1. 1. The Boy Named Victor. Tragedy in Latveria.
Our story starts in Latveria. For those who might not know, this small, fictional Eastern European nation is where Victor von Doom was born into a persecuted Romani tribe known as the Zafiro. As a young boy, he wasn't born into royalty or privilege. Not at all. He was born into deep poverty and oppression, living under the incredibly cruel thumb of a tyrannical leader named Baron Vladimir Fornuvo. So, before he ever became this ironclad monarch, Victor was actually a deeply sympathetic figure on what is essentially a dark, inverted hero's journey.
An incredibly rapid sequence of tragedies basically broke and then rebuilt young Victor. First, his mother, a witch named Cynthia, desperately sought power just to protect her people. She made a tragic deal with the demon Mephisto, and well, she lost her everlasting soul in the process. Then his father Werner, who was a healer, failed to cure the Baron's wife. Labeled a murderer, Werner grabbed young Victor and fled into the freezing woods, where he tragically died of exposure just to protect his son. I mean, think about that sheer trauma. It led Victor to swear absolute vengeance against the Baron, and honestly, the entire world that took his family. To pull this off, he dedicated every waking second to mastering both the science of his father and the magic of his mother.
Section 2. 2. A fateful college rivalry. Hubris at State University. Okay, let's dive into this. Victor's sheer, undeniable brilliance actually earned him a scholarship to a university in the United States. And it's here that he meets his assigned roommate and ultimate rival, Reed Richards. You know, the future Mr. Fantastic. At this point, Victor's entire goal is to build an astral projection machine to reach into hell and save his mother's soul. But when Reed points out that Victor's calculations are off by just a few decimals, Victor's massive ego just won't let him listen. He completely ignores the warning. And honestly, there is something darkly hilarious about the fact that a man who eventually becomes a magic-wielding, billionaire monarch still holds a lethal, lifelong grudge against his college roommate just for trying to check his math.
But, as you can imagine, that unyielding pride had a terrible cost. The machine violently exploded. Now, this catastrophic accident mildly scarred Victor's face, but more importantly, it completely shattered his fragile vanity. He blamed Reed Richards entirely for the failure and was immediately expelled from the university. Just like that, he was left a disgraced and desperate wanderer.
Section 3. 3. Forging the Iron Monarch. The Birth of Doom.
So after traveling the globe seeking out all this arcane knowledge, a near-dead Victor finally collapses on a mountainside in Tibet. There, he's rescued by a clan of reclusive monks. Using that genius intellect of his, he doesn't just master their mystical disciplines, he basically takes complete control of their entire order. He then commands them to forge this heavy iron armor to protect himself from a world he absolutely despises. But here's the kicker. Unable to look at his scarred face for a single moment longer, his unchecked vanity drives him to don the iron mask while it is literally still red-hot straight from the forge. By his own impatient hand, he permanently and horrifically disfigures himself.
And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute point of no return. Victor Von Doom is dead. Dr. Doom is born. It is such an incredibly operatic moment. By literally burning the mask into his flesh, he completely sheds his fragile human weakness, locking away all of those vulnerabilities behind cold, unyielding iron.
Section 4. 4. Science, Sorcery, and Doombots, a terrifying duality.
What makes Dr. Doom so uniquely terrifying is that he isn't just a tech guy, and he isn't just a wizard.
It's both. On one hand, we have his unmatched technological genius. We're talking functioning time machines, armor that totally rivals Iron Man's, and virtually impenetrable energy force fields. But then, on the flip side, we have his mastery of the mystic arts. He uses dark magic, summons demonic creatures, and weaves spells he learned from his Romani heritage and those Tibetan monks. He completely bridges the gap between a mad scientist and a supreme sorcerer. Basically, if you manage to disable his tech, he's just going to destroy you with magic.
And of course, no discussion of his technology would be complete without talking about the Doombots. These aren't just your standard remote-controlled drones, no way. They are exact mechanical replicas of Dr. Doom used as decoys and enforcers. The true danger here is their incredibly advanced AI. They are actually programmed to deeply believe that they are the real Dr. Doom. That means they fight with his exact level of ruthless arrogance and tactical brilliance, making it nearly impossible for heroes to ever know for sure if they've actually defeated the real guy.
Section 5. The complexities of rule, tyrant or savior.
Doom's governance is just full of these massive contradictions. He returns home and leads this violent, highly successful revolution against the corrupt baron who killed his father. But instead of establishing, say, a democracy, he claims the throne as an absolute iron-fisted dictator. Yet, and here's the twist, under his rule, he transforms Latveria from an impoverished backwater into a thriving, completely crime-free technological powerhouse. He fiercely protects his people, especially the Romani, giving them real safety and prosperity. The chilling trade-off, though, he demands absolute loyalty, effectively stripping his own citizens of their free will.
But amidst all this bombastic megalomania and political control, there's actually a deeply human core to the character. Every single year, on Midsummer's Eve, Dr. Doom uses his magic to literally plunge into hell itself. He engages in brutal, hand-to-hand and magical combat with the demon Mephisto, all for the singular goal of winning back his mother's soul. It's this relentless, loving crusade that grounds his larger-than-life villainy in some truly profound familial grief.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Doom's capacity for care is ultimately twisted by his own paranoid obsessions. He adopts a young, orphaned Latverian boy named Christoph Bernard. He raises him in the palace with genuine fondness, fully intending for the boy to be his heir. But Doom's paranoia always demands contingency plans. When Doom is seemingly killed in battle, his automated robots activate this horrific backup protocol. They forcibly brainwash young Christoph, downloading Doom's memories into the boy's mind until Christoph genuinely believes he is the adult Dr. Doom trapped in a child's body. So in the end, Doom's desperate desire for a legacy completely destroyed the life of the one child he actually cared for.
Section 6. Godhood and Doom's Legacy, the ultimate endgame.
Doom's ambitions eventually transcend mere earthly politics. During the epic Secret Wars event, when the entire Marvel multiverse is literally collapsing, Doom achieves the impossible. He actually steals the reality-warping power of cosmic beings known as the Beyonders. He stitches the dying fragments of reality together to create Battleworld, ruling over it as a literal deity, God Emperor Doom. For him, he finally proved his core thesis, that reality itself could only survive if it was entirely under his absolute iron grip.
But, that godhood just couldn't last. In this shocking moment of vulnerability at the end of the event, Doom actually concedes that his hated rival, Reed Richards, could have managed that ultimate power better than he did. Wow, so Reed takes the power, restores the multiverse, and as a gesture of grace, completely heals Doom's scarred face. This super rare moment of humility sparked a brief redemption arc. Doom actually tried to be a hero for a bit, taking up Tony Stark's mantle as the infamous Iron Man. It's a brilliant reminder to us that there really is a noble, honorable man buried deep beneath all that arrogance.
Of course, he couldn't stay on the hero path forever. In the recent One World Under Doom storyline, he executes this flawless, massive plan to become both the Sorcerer Supreme and the Emperor of Earth. And just like he did in Latveria, he actually succeeds in imposing world peace and solving major global issues, though once again at the heavy cost of personal liberty. But in the end, he voluntarily renounces his absolute control over the world and even gives up his title as Sorcerer Supreme to make a massive sacrifice to resurrect his goddaughter Valeria Richards. Once again, his genuine love for a family member totally humanized his grand world-conquering schemes.
Which leaves us with a final, really provocative question. Is Dr. Doom a tyrannical monster, or is he the harsh savior a broken universe actually needs? He's a man forged by profound tragedy, driven by supreme ego, armed with science and sorcery, and capable of both unspeakable cruelty and astonishing nobility. He essentially established the very archetype of the modern, sympathetic supervillain. I really hope this explainer helped you understand the complex man behind the Iron Mask and leaves you eager to explore even more of his incredible history.